What is up, everyone? I'm already noticing that my face is a little blurry, so hang tight just a sec. Let me do that. All right, that's better. I don't know, autofocus just never works on this camera. Everything else is cool with it. All right, today we are going to talk about what to do when you hate the song that you're working on. You start off with an idea, you're inspired, you got kind of a bit of a loop going, you got your groove started. You start filling it out, you start building it, you keep thinking that it's getting better and better, and all of a sudden you go back to your track after thinking you had something great, and it sucks. You're not digging it at all. You're sick of it. You're either sick of it or something's not working and you can't really figure out what's going on with the track. And here what most people do is they ditch the track and start something new. Terrible idea, because all that's doing is reinforcing the idea that you're practicing not finishing songs. So you don't want to get yourself into that habit at all. You want to continue on the path to move forward with all your songs and finish anything that you start. That's the habit that we're developing here. So what happens if you hate that track that you are working on? Well, if you hate the track you're working on, there's a reason. There is a reason why the track is not working. And it doesn't mean that the whole track is terrible. All it means is that currently where you're at with the track, something stopped working. Something stopped inspiring you. All right. So what do we do? What do we do when we hit that point where we don't want to work on a song anymore because it's just not inspiring us too much? So number one, like I just said, is do not ditch your song. See the song through, even if it doesn't end up being your best track. Move forward anyway. Because you're going to find that with some of these techniques that I'll give you, which is pretty simple actually, you could recover many of the tracks that you think are not recoverable. All right. So the first thing that you want to do when you're not digging the track that you are that you're working on right now is start stripping back and muting all your extra layers, all your extra things, until you get all the way back down to the basic groove and bass line. All right. So you're going to mute everything else that's going on in your track, and then you're going to evaluate your groove, and you're going to evaluate whether the foundation of the song is solid or flawed. So is the groove getting you moving by itself? Does the groove still have something, or does it not? And if it doesn't, then great. You've just figured out that you've been building a house on top of a foundation that is not very solid. And you need to work out that groove. You need to either change your bass line to get things rolling, or maybe there's something in your groove or a certain part that is slowing down the sound of your groove. How do you get your head nodding again? That's what you really want to do, is make sure that your head is nodding to the groove that you have. So if that's not happening, then that's the first thing that you need to fix. If your groove by itself sounds great, and you're still inspired by that, then what you're going to do is you're going to slowly start adding back one sound at a time. And if the sound seems to kill the groove, then mute it and go to the next sound, right? Figure out what sounds are working first, right? And then get those into the mix. And while you're mixing these in, keep listening to the groove itself to make sure that you still got a head nodder, that it's improving, that it's moving the groove forward instead of holding the groove back. All right. So The next step, after you find the sounds that are adding to your groove and that fill your groove out correctly, is you go back to those sounds that weren't working for some reason or another. And then you have just a few choices, all right? So the first thing is you might want to change the sound that you're using. Maybe it's the sound itself. Maybe it's playing in the right spot, but the sound itself is not inspiring you. Or maybe it's too loud or too low, so it could be a mixing thing. So first option is to change the sound. The second option is to change the location that the sound is playing, or the location of the pattern that's playing, so that your pattern hits on certain notes, on certain locations that move the groove forward, that actually help the groove better. So sometimes you can just shift your pattern by, an eighth of a note forward or backward, or 16th note forward or backward, and it will give you a more inspiring groove with the same sound. And so go through that and experiment and see if it's the timing thing that's holding back your track, right? And if neither of those are helping, then just ditch the sound altogether. Just don't be afraid. No matter how much time you put into something, it's either working or it's not, right? So pull it out, go to the next sound and do the same thing, and get back into the sounds that you built and see if you can end up with a groove that is inspiring you more, that you can then continue to build on and take that song to completion. So that's really how simple it can be, is first starting to strip back and then add things back in slowly and evaluate each sound on how it affects your groove. Does it affect it positively or negatively? What is acceptable to you and what's not acceptable. And then if something's not working, you either get rid of it, you change the sound, or you change the location, or a combination of several of those things as you're bringing things back in. So do that. Get yourself into finishing songs again. Stop scrapping songs just because you don't like it, or you get in the habit of just scrapping songs and not liking songs, and you don't get yourself further because you haven't learned how to solve your own problems when you're not liking where a track is going. So what's going to happen is you're just going to repeat that pattern with a new track, and you're going to get it to a groove, you're going to like it, you're going to start building on it, and then that one's going to go to crap as well. So, or at least more than likely that's what's going to happen. So try to break that habit and get back into finishing songs and staying inspired, And sometimes, just simplifying the song can solve a lot of problems. So that is that's my recommendation for you guys today. If you look in the description, you will see that I have a private group that I've created. Super low expense. It's just $10. And I'm sharing a $47 course in there, and I'm doing 2 Ask Me Anything sessions. Going to be 2 live sessions, or you can ask me questions in the private group, and I'll answer those. And basically what we're doing is we're setting up your mindset to be completely geared up for the new year, so that you don't make the mistakes next year that you've made this year that may have held you back from finishing more songs. So we're going to dive completely into getting your habits and your mindset to the next level and get you prepared and motivated to push forward. I think this is going to be really, really powerful. I mean, $10 is a no-brainer. I mean, if you don't want to invest $10 in yourself, you might want to question whether making music is the right thing for you. Now, of course, if this is not something that connects with you, that's perfectly fine. This doesn't have to be the training that connects with you. But if you feel that your mental game and your mental habits are a little bit out of alignment, and it's affecting your music productivity, which I'm going to suggest that 80% of your music production it has to do with your mindset and your habits. and then 20% has to do with more of the technical skills. So if you get this part down, you're really going to nail the rest. So if that sounds interesting to you and you want to join other people that were willing to, throw a tenner to kind of round out their final month of 2018 and get themselves prepared for 2019, I would love for you to join me. You can find the link somewhere in the description there. All right. With that, I hope you guys have a fantastic day and have a good one. Cheers.